So nice little recovery bounce there from BTC. We were looking for a nice bullish move at the start of the week, and so far, so good. Now what? Well, is that the bottom? Was that the bottom? I'm looking at a couple of things here, and I may be inclined to lean to the point where we're saying that is the potential bottom for now. I'm going to show you potential traps that we can look out for. Then I've got some bullish setups here on some altcoins. I've got degen setups for you guys, possibly some entries coming. Massive day today. We got so much to talk about here. Let's get right into this. And remember, hit the like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, do your thing. And I do have a special guest here in the back, Mr. 𝗍𝗟𝗪𝗏. He's back in town. He's here. And obviously, the likes bouncer is here, managing things. And we might have a setup coming on 𝗍𝗟𝗪𝗏 as well. We're definitely going to get a sentiment check here. We're going to see exactly what is potting this week. So stick around. Lots to talk about here. And banter bubbles now nice and green. This is the way we like it. This is the way we are used to it. Look at this. SUI minus 2.5 after that massive buying. Finally, a little bit of a cool down there, but is it a possible entry zone now for us? That is something we're going to be looking at today. So I've got a degen setup for you on SUI, potentially brewing. Look at the strength from 𝗦𝗦𝗬𝗘𝗥. Lido, guys, we called that bottom of Lido on the bottom of the weekly that we saw early last week. And that could be something of interest. And even 𝗏 at the bottom here, 4.9% up. That thing is showing a little bit of a move, but a lot going on overall. I am in a couple of positions here, and we're going to take you guys through a couple, because look at this phantom, 11.9% up. I'm trying to catch this little breakout here, and hopefully with the help of some 𝗍𝗟𝗪𝗏 things, we can maybe get somewhere with that phantom. So let's jump into BTC. And that's the S&P. We'll deal with that in a couple of minutes. Here we go. BTC 4 hour. This is the big one for us. So this is exactly how I am watching this currently. This is my game plan now for the next few days. Let's call it the next 3 or 4 days while things start playing out. Remember, we got CPI this week. We got the presidential debate tomorrow. That could be a market mover. There's a lot going on here this week, so we should get a degree of volatility. But what am I looking at right now on the 4 hour? So you can see after our big dump that we had on Friday, just about when that market closed, 52,300, big send out of there. And right now we are looking at this big resistance band. This is a big 4 hour resistance zone here for us, 55,300 on the 4 hour. This is a big area now. This is where the bears are stepping in. The bears are trying to send this one a little bit lower. And this is where we could get our first reaction here, our first big rejection. Then if we are pushing higher to the upside, where is there a danger zone? 57,255, big area for me. If we push into that area, look out. That's a potential short opportunity for the bears as well. And then if things get super aggressive here, 60,200. These are all your danger zones. These are all the areas that you are pushing into where you don't really want to be longing the top. You don't want to be longing into these type of resistance bands and, every single altcoin on the planet at the same time. These are where you can get yourself in a bit of a spot, especially the leverage traders. So look out. We've got some potential traps in these areas. We got bull traps in these zones, and we need to play these things accordingly. Remember, at every time we get to one of these rejection areas, we can anticipate some kind of bullish pullback. And if the bull trend is going to continue, you're just going to get these little pullbacks along the way, and we can start grinding this thing higher up. So right now, we got to keep level heads here. We play it accordingly. You can see Bitcoin at resistance, okay? So patience here. Let's be level-headed. And with regards to pullbacks and things like that, off the bat, 53,700, big area here for me. And then we're going to look at these lows, 52,300. These are downside levels that you are watching for the next couple of days. These are the big zones for me. Jason says he wouldn't long here. US dominance pushing up. Yes. That is naturally a problem. If you got your USDT dominance pushing higher and you've got Bitcoin sitting at resistance, maybe it's time to be a little bit more cautious. And okay, so let's go. Let's see what I'm in at the moment. These are my two current positions on Prime XBT. So no BTC here for me today. I've got a TON situation, and we're going to talk 𝗍𝗟𝗪𝗏 around TON as well. I did give you guys that long setup yesterday on my show for those of you that were watching it, and we got a nice little breakout there out of that trend. So hopefully we're going to get a bit more juice out of TON. Then you can see here's Phantom in front of me. I've gone full degen, trading 5-minute candles here. at the moment, and we're going to get support from 𝗤𝗓𝗏𝗏. We're going to get a little idea as to if this move can potentially continue. So we've got a lot to talk about here, and let's just see what is going on in the news. Now, yesterday, quite interesting. We had the fear and greed at 29. Now, Bitcoin has pushed higher and pushed on quite nicely, but today we are sitting at 26. Now, remember, these low 20s often signify or signal some form of bottom for us when we do hit these low numbers. And you would have noticed on Friday or Saturday when the market was closing, and we pinged about 22, 23, and that was a trigger for a nice little push higher. So fear and greed 26, nice and low. Okay, people are scared. And not the whales that I showed you guys yesterday, all those guys buying these things. And here's a topic for us that we're going to get into just now when we start diving into some more BTC levels for you guys. And there's a big CME gap. Okay, so warning bells here. In spite of what is happening, we do have a big CME gap. So we're going to deal with this now on these 15-minute candles. I'm going to break this down for you guys, but you can see a big little gap opening. And we know what happens with these gaps. They like to come and fill these things. Now, isn't this interesting? We've noticed that the US have been selling for the last month. Okay, every time something's gone down, the US have been selling Bitcoin. I think the numbers were a net negative 6% or negative 5% for the month, and the Asians were pushing these things higher the whole time. Now look at this. We got the Chinese overnight economic data coming out. CPI miss, PPI miss. Is it time to switch gears? Is it now US time to shine? And is it going to be Asia time to start selling things? So interesting here if we're going to start getting a shift in the market. Now, remember, the best times were like in 2021, where Asia buys, the US buys, Europe buys, and then they repeat the cycle. Buy, buy, buy. And you get these days, you get 5 or 6 days in a row like that, and things get pretty euphoric. So we're still waiting for one of those moments here for us, but so far things looking a little bit dodgy there on the Chinese side of things. Okay, the block is talking about Bernstein. Okay, remember, there's a debate tomorrow, presidential debate. Okay, this is going to be top viewing, and it could be an absolute market mover here if Trump annihilates Harris with whatever he has to say. But it might be like that Biden-Trump debate where they were arguing about who swings the golf club better. And I'm not expecting massively intelligent things to come out there, but nonetheless, I think it's going to be a bit of a market mover. And Bernstein predicts Bitcoin price to hit 80 to 90K if Trump wins the presidential race. Okay, yes. And 30 to 40K if Harris is elected. I think that actually makes perfect sense here. So this presidential thing is really gearing up to be a massive market mover for crypto. And, it's going to hurt if Harris wins the presidential race. McKenna talking about election odds. And he's saying the odds dramatically will shift tomorrow based on this debate. This has got to be something we need to watch. I'm sure there's going to be highlights all over Twitter, and we're going to either be laughing or crying tomorrow. We're going to watch some of these clips tomorrow after some of this stuff unfolds for us. So something to look forward to, but keen eye on this stuff. Big market movers. And yesterday I touched on about 500 million getting taken out of the crypto market, and now the block has updated here. We're talking $726 million. And this is global crypto investment products record the largest weekly outflows since March. Okay, so looking a little bit messy there at the moment from that front, a little bit bearish. And another bearish sign for us, and I touched on this the other day, is the Coinbase App Store ranking. Now, as funny as this sounds, we can always tell when the market is super bullish, when Coinbase starts moving up the ladder in the App Store. And you can always you can gauge market sentiment as a whole, especially from retail naturally, as to what is going on. So he's posted a nice little picture here for us on his tweet, and he's showing us how it started versus how it's going. Now, this was March on the left-hand side when we were having a massive pump from these altcoins. I think Sol was pushing 200, give or take. We had AVAX pushing 50, somewhere in those levels. It was a little bit of euphoria. Phantom was also cooking. And you can see on the left here, the ranking on the 5th of March was 49. On the 6th, it was 68. On the 7th of March, it was 86. So it started dropping. And look where we are now. We are above 500 for the Coinbase app ranking. It means nobody is interested at the moment in crypto. So those of you that are watching now, you are doing your work. Okay, you are going to be ahead of the curve when these guys want to come in. Okay, you buying AVAX at whatever these levels are. You buying Rune at 3.3 that we gave you last week. When these guys come in, okay, there might still be downside. Yes, naturally. Rune could go to 2, for example. But by the time these guys come in that we're talking about, Rune is going to be at $8. It's going to be at $10. So you're doing all the work now. Okay, and these guys, when they come back, they're going to be your exit liquidity. So just hang in there. You are doing well. If you're watching crypto content every day, you guys are cooking. Okay, you're doing the work, you're learning how to trade, and things are going to work out for you just fine. So just hang in there. And the S&P, well, what can I say? Okay, we gave you the first bounce zone. This was always going to be a zone of interest for me, 5,385, and they've delivered. Okay, they dropped us into our 100-day moving average, our 0.5 fib, and our nice little horizontals. And this was always going to be a region of interest here for the S&P. Give us a little bounce, maybe give Bitcoin a little boost and things like that. And so far, so good. So the S&P doing what we wanted it to do. And look, for me, we into a bullish period now. I'm expecting a little bounce here leading into these rate cuts. That is what I wanted to see. And now we know we've got the shutdown from the Fed speakers till next week. So there's a little bit of silence there. We've got CPI coming this week. That could be a nice market mover for us. And I would typically like to see this S&P push a little bit higher. Again, we don't have to see all-time highs, but I'd like to see a nice push up before they come and send us straight to hell around about the 18th. So let's see. Was this the start now of a potential bounce for us on the S&P? Well, it's a good start on a Monday, okay? It's nice. If you're trading stocks, your stuff is green and you're feeling good. Now, the liquidation map, this is going to play a little role in some of the charts that I'm going to show you now. And this is the 24-hour liquidation map. So we're going to watch this one closely because we can see to the downside here, anything from 54,600 down to round about 54,000 is a danger zone. There's a liquidity zone there. This is where these guys can drop this and come and just grab that liquidity. If they want to send us higher, no FOMO zone here. We're looking at the $56,000 level on BTC. So we are pretty close to some of these areas. Now, let's talk about the CME gap that I've just shown you. And just, you know, in a ranging market, we know these gaps get filled. Okay, even in a bullish market, at some point, these gaps get filled. Sometimes these gaps could take a very long time before they come back. It could take 6 months. It could take a year to fill some of these gaps. But what we do know is consistently CME gaps get filled. So this gap that I showed you here that opened up now after that dump, this is it's a thing. Okay, so at some point, these guys are going to come and they're going to start trying to tap this gap close. I wanted to give you a little highlights package here on the 15 minutes of what you can look out for. So you can see what I've done here. I've mapped out 15-minute BTC. I've pulled my fibs from the absolute lows to the highs to look for reaction zones. I've banged out my anchored VWAP. I've got 2 in play at the moment. The top one you see here where we're rejecting off is the anchored VWAP from the dip on the 5th of August. Then the current one I've got here is the anchored VWAP from the dip of the 6th of September. And you can see these two are acting as a tight little range here at the moment for BTC. So what am I looking at here? If we start drifting lower on BTC, so let's say we start falling over, I would expect some kind of bounce here in this region, this 54,500. I'd expect some kind of reaction here. But for me, it would be very strange if they start sending it down this close to the CME gap and then not finishing the deal. Okay, so I suspect if we start getting a little downtrend here, don't assume that they're not going to come and fill this gap this time. So this is something you guys need to watch out for. Maybe load this chart on your side, get these levels set out for you. And these are levels we need to understand. Unless we get some kind of guard candle now and they start sending BTC through that trend I've just shown you on that 4-hour, I think if we start bleeding lower here, we're going to slowly bleed, and then they're just going to dump us and take out that CME gap, and we're going to be crying again on Wednesday. So let's watch these levels. 54,500. That's the top of the CME gap. That's a scalper zone. I would assume we're going to get a long from that area there, 54,500, a short-term little scalp long. Then lower down, 53,750. That for me is another potential scalp long area for me. And then close that gap at around about this 53,000 region for me. And that prints us a higher low. Okay, so we good. Higher low printed. Bottom is in if we get a nice little bounce off that level. Naturally, we don't want to go lower than that. Okay, if we close that CME gap, maybe a push to this little wick that you can see here, the wick lows from the dump. But really, if the bottom's in here, for me, we're holding the CME gap, and then we are sending things higher. So massive week ahead, lots to watch. And I see Mr. 100. He says he opened massive longs. 62K incoming. Well, that's a good sign for us there. Let's see if he can send it. And then BTC on the daily. Again, bigger picture guys, the guys that aren't scalping, the guys just want to know what's going on with BTC. You got some spot bags, you're just chilling. And you can see bigger picture stuff, very clean picture here for you. Lows, 52,417. Nice big area for us. That was our reaction area on the dump. So that is looking good there for me. Then you can see we are at a reaction zone here, 55,100. If we start churning higher, get some structure here for me, the next big zone, 58.8. Okay, so right now, all is good on the daily. Okay, we're still trying to hunt these range highs here. We're trying to hunt the channel high. That for me does come at some point. You know, it's just a natural progression here. If we see how they have been playing this thing, I would expect at some point they come back and they visit the 68, 69 button deviate. What's going on here, bro? Fuck me. Come on. Okay, so daily's looking good, and you've got your levels locked in. Spot traders, you can see your big zones, and to the downside, 50,300 looks like a reasonable area. If they really are going to come and kill us, 50,300, look for a reaction there. I would be surprised, but crypto, we can't be surprised. We can never say never in crypto. Now, before we get into some of these altcoins and things like that, and we're going to get into a few things. One of them is a trading competition. I need your help. Okay, you guys need to sign up with 𝗬𝗎𝒻. I'm going to tell you more about this in a minute. Let's get Ed in from 𝗬𝗎𝗣𝗥, and he's going to tell us what's going on with these pivots. Because, as you know, if you've been watching the show for a while, 𝗬𝗎𝗣𝗥 has this thing called a pivot party. Okay, it's guys, they like trading, they like pivots, and they like parties. And what happens on a Sunday is you get new weekly pivot printouts, and this gives us a guide for the week, or what to expect for the week. What type of sentiment? Are we bullish? Are we bearish? And things like that. So I'm eager to hear what is going on here on 𝗬𝗎𝗣𝗥's side. So guys, meet Ed. For those of you that know him, well, you know the man. But talk to me. What's going on?
Well, we had a really interesting week, considering last week when I was on, I told you that we had about 4 only narrow pivots for the week. What that tells us is the following week, we're going to get a lot of them, and we did. We printed just under 100 narrow pivots, and I think about 60% of them came out as super narrow, which means that it's one line on the chart. We can't see the 3 pivots, we see 1. Overall,
what does that mean? What is so super tight pivot? Just to explain. Violent move, up or down?
Correct. So the pivot structure again works it's a level of compression. So as the market is creating compression, we have 3 layers in the pivot. The tighter it gets, the more likelihood you're going to get aggressive move either to the upside or the downside. It doesn't tell us which way. It just tells us that we're going to get aggressive moves. So basically, it struck the highs, lows, highs, lows, highs, lows, highs, lows, and now it's just sitting there. Now it's going to have to move for liquidity up, or it's going to have to move for liquidity down. Either way, it's going to move.
Nice. Okay, let's look at your chart here. I'm pulling your chart up. What is going up on the magic screen here? What are we looking at?
I've got BTC up first. Currently, again, we're just breaking. We're still below the monthly pivot. We had that big dump. We came back up to the 50, to the 64, and we're coming back in off that 52 one more time, hoping we can get through the monthly. There's a pretty big zone here right around the monthly pivot. That's going to be tough for us to get through around 57. As you saw, last week, we just hung around that 59 and just hovered, right? We did start the week, unfortunately, underneath the weekly pivot, which is looking sort of bearish. Majority of tokens, though, as I was showing on the scanner, we actually have about 81% above the weekly pivot. So it's strange. We're bullish on the alts, we're bearish on BTC, which that's usually a good sign for a change in direction, right?
A little bit of a rangy BTC, maybe just unlock some of these alts.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Not necessarily the most scary thing here, but okay, cool. So we're under the weekly, so technically we are a little bit bearish. We're under the monthly, so we're still bearish.
Absolutely.
Okay. Talk to me about some altcoin sentiment here. Sure. You've seen I was in 𝗏 there. Can we talk about 𝗏, for example?
Absolutely. Actually, I was looking at 𝗏 as a potential trade. We had a nice little zone that it broke through. We had a super narrow weekly pivot on 𝗏. And I noticed by pulling up the 5, we just tapped the daily R2, and it's coming back into the zone. So it looks like we're going to get a retest probably around 4.9. And ideally, if you see it there, it's going to be coincide with the daily R1. You take that stop loss being just underneath the previous day high of 4.92. nice tight range. You can get a good amount of leverage safely in that area, and targeting back up to 5.3. And if you get real lucky, probably bottom of the monthly pivot at 5.6.
Okay, so, I mean, this is cool. I want to pull out my chart as well so you guys can see how nice this 𝗔𝗟𝗪𝗪 is. And you can use it as a level of confluence for your own TA. So this is exactly what I do with 𝗔𝗟𝗪𝗪. When I gave that trend break setup yesterday on my show, on the live Zoom session that I did with the Sniper Club members, we pulled out projected weekly pivots for TON, okay, and a couple of others, Ponky, Render, I think we did Ondo and things like that as well. And we could see that on this trend break we were looking at for TON, we had this the weekly pivot. Let's just pull this thing up. Look at that. Oh, this thing is tight. And that was a good sign for us that we were about to break this weekly pivot. Now, what Power is telling us here on this pullback, it's tying in exactly with a 382 bullish fib pullback, okay, and a trend retest. So now we've got multiple levels of confluence here using 𝗔𝗟𝗪𝗪 and regular TA. That tells us, okay, I'm sitting in TON. I can remain in this trade here, provided we are holding this 4.89, 4.9 type of level. So pretty interesting here for me on TON. So you can see my targets are slightly higher than Power's here. And I'm going to explain why. So what I'm looking at here, you can see our big support here, okay, 382, horizontal trend, things like that. So support 4.9 on TON. We're looking for a little bit of up down here, okay, a little bit of up down. But ultimately for me, I want to take out the top of this monthly pivot. You can see the top of the monthly pivot here. You can see the 200-day MA. You can see the 50-day MA. So for me, this is rejection zone number one. That's a big one for me. Naturally, there's going to be little TPs along the way and chop obviously along the way. But the big area here for me, for the bears, going to be 5.9. That's a short zone here for me. And then 6.2 is another potential short zone for me. So that's my current plan. Okay, and obviously now I'm going to use these 𝗔𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗪 levels that he's given us. And what was that? 5.3. So that one there, I've marked that 5.3, and the other one you said 5.6.
Bottom of the monthly. It's
bottom
so
of the monthly. Okay.
Bottom of that monthly looks so strong. You've got the weekly R3 sitting right there around it. So just around between 5, 6. And 5, 7, there's going to be a lot of movement there. And if you actually look back, there's a decent little order block back there on August 28th.
Okay, but a nice lesson here with using 𝗔𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗪 with confluence. We had a very tight weekly pivot on a trend break. Okay, so that told us this was resistance. But once we pop through it, it tells us that we get a potentially quite a strong bullish move to the upside. So, okay, nice. Little marriage between regular TA and 𝗔𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗪. That's a banger.
That's how it works.
Okay. Then let's talk Phantom before I get rinsed here.
Sure.
And let's see, am I getting rinsed? Oh, they're playing games with me. Okay, they're playing games. Cool. Talk to me about Phantom. I've taken a high-risk scalp here. Let's pull up your screen.
Phantom, right now you are in a combination of the daily R2. It's just kind of living there. You can see it trying to battle with it like resistance. It made a nice move off the daily, clear right through R1. But it's also a zone of interest from back in, again, August 28th, around that area, middle of last week's weekly pivot. It's also the weekly R1. So you could see yourself staying in this area for a little while, maybe even a retest back to 4.2 before you continue to the upside. But being above the monthly pivot and the weekly pivot inside of itself, again, if we're focused on compression, we have a high level of compression for the monthly perspective and a high level of compression because it is a narrow weekly pivot on both sides. So that's a lot of gas for it to be moving.
Okay, so 4.2. Yeah, look, I'm going to be out of this thing at 4.2. I'm about to move my stop to entry here. I wanted to catch I wanted to catch this little breakout here that they're giving us. So I'm not going to stick around for 4.2, but I'm going to take a more in-depth look at Phantom for you guys in a couple of minutes on some of my regular TA as well. And then we're going to pull Power back because I want to talk Render in a couple of minutes because I think Render I think it's a dark horse here. I think Render's potentially a mover for us, and he's going to stick around because I've also got an Ondo chart that we might have to chat to him about as well. So let me get stuck into some of my business here, and then we're going to bring him back on. So guys, if you're interested in 𝗔𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗪, there is a link in the description of the show. You just go into the show. There it is. Go under the show and you'll see 𝗔𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗪. There is a link floating around here. There it is towards the bottom. You can find it there. Click on that link if you want a piece of this action. And there's a couple of things going on. Power's going to elaborate on it just now, but there's going to be a 7-day free trial for you guys where you're going to be able to get access to a webinar. We'll call it something more exciting than a webinar, but it will be some kind of get together, and you're going to get exposed. Hello there, what's going on there? And you're going to get exposed to a pivot party. You're going to get exposed to a couple of live trading sessions and things like that. So you'll have a full understanding. That 7 days is going to give you a proper understanding of Easy Algo and see if it's something that you like. Like for me, for example, I use it as confluence for my trading style, but Easy Algo on its own can be considered a totally separate trading style. So maybe it's worth taking a look there and diving a little bit further into those things. Okay, let's talk trading competitions. So you guys know 𝗬𝗎𝗥, one of my partners here, and they are launching a trading competition. Okay, and I'm forming my own team. Okay, I'm busy putting it together now. I've submitted all the details, so the team isn't ready yet. Okay, but what I need from you guys is to sign up with 𝗬𝗎𝗥. Ray, we're going to be taking some of your trades, bro. You better be ready. Okay, we're going to take Easy Algo trades. We're going to take Ray 3-minute trades. We're going to take my sniper trades. And we're going to see how we go here on this thing. But what I need from you guys is I need you to go to the link in the description here and sign up to 𝗬𝗎𝗥. Okay, there is a sign-up bonus and things like that floating around right now. But I want to have a team together. I want to get a few members here. So I need my people. Okay, we need to do this together. And we'll try and take as many trades as possible live on these shows as well. So jump into the show description there, sign up to 𝗬𝗎𝗥, and just send a little bit of cash. Let's keep warm. And this competition is going to be active in about 2 days. I've submitted all my details. My team is going live. I'm going to give you all that info tomorrow. So jump in, sign in with 𝗬𝗎𝗥, get started here with me, and let's do something. Let's have some fun, and we're going to mix it up. We're going to do Easy Algo trades. We're going to take Ray's trades. Okay, we're going to scalp. We're going to be DJs. We're going to do everything that we can do here for 𝗬𝗎𝗥. Now, let's get into some interesting things here. And did Vista just come and save Ethereum from the depths of hell? Okay, so you guys know pump.fun. Okay, basically pumped Sol. Okay, what was the other one? Sun Pump. What did that do to Tron? Pumped. Even ADA had some shit coinery going on that pumped ADA. Now enter Vista. Okay, Ether Vista, this is called. It's essentially pump.fun for ETH. Okay, so now before we get into a deeper dive into this Vista situation, we need to look at this abysmal ETH situation and say, can Vista come and save ETH from the depths of hell? Vitalik's got a girlfriend. He's done. Okay, he's not interested in other things. He's not in it for the tech anymore. Okay, and ETH is looking incredibly sad here for me. So just to touch on ETH again, you guys know, because I talk about this all the time, 2,100, that's a big level for us. Michelle likes that shit coinery. We do like it. And James says we're about to get smashed. He's excited. He's excited. James, are you going to get rinsed here, bro? What's going on? Okay, so ETH. 2,100, big level here. Is Vista going to save the day for ETH? So we're going to take a look at that in a couple of minutes. We're going to deal with it. I got a lot of information. We're going to look at this website. Okay, so TON, we sorted. We know what we want out of TON. That is good to go. Okay, let's talk Phantom here on some of my charting and things like this. What is in the way for me on Phantom? So if you got Phantom, I gave you guys this level. It was the 618 that we were looking at. Typical 618 pullback on all of these tokens. So after that dump on the 7th of August, the 5th of August dump, look at that. 618 pullback, Phantom, bang, strong bounce here for Phantom. Now we are chasing. Why was I interested in a scalp long? We are chasing 46. Okay, this is region number 1. Look at this reaction zone here, 46 reaction zone. Then I've got my horizontals a little bit higher up at 52. So these are the areas of interest for me on Phantom before this thing potentially rolls over. So Phantom traders, you can see the drill here. I literally scalped 5-minute candles, traded that breakout, high risk play. Okay, small move here. 52 is the upside target of interest. 46 is the next target of interest that we can watch. Then I suspect this thing falls over. This thing breathes again and it starts turning over. So watch out these types of zones here. High risk play if you are playing the game. And when it falls over, when this thing starts rejecting, I'm going to give you some degen setups tomorrow or the next day so that we can catch the next potential bounce on Phantom. Exactly what I'm going to do for you now on a couple of other tokens. So I've prepped some high level high time frame tokens for you now, and I've got some degen entries ready for you guys that you guys can start getting ready for some of these things. Okay, let's go. AVAX shown a ton of strength here lately, and a nice little pop. Look at this, responding just like Phantom off the 618. Big little move here for AVAX, and now pushing into a horizontal band. So what are we looking for now? So now we're saying Bitcoin is at resistance. There's a possibility that Bitcoin can reject here. If Bitcoin rejects, most likely things like Phantom, AVAX, Sol, all these other tokens, they start falling over. Okay, where do they potentially fall over? Number one, AVAX for me at this region here. So call it 24. Okay, at the 24 region, this is a potential rejection zone. It's no coincidence that AVAX is at resistance while Bitcoin is at resistance. Remember, these things sing. They sing from the same hymn sheet here. And if there is one more push in BTC, I'm expecting a decent sized rejection for AVAX at 25 as well. So playing it very cautiously here, and just look what's in front of you. You've got double trend, you've got a 618, you've got horizontals at 25. That is a massive danger zone for anyone sitting in Phantom. Random says Litecoin's going to melt faces. Bro, I tell the jokes around here, okay? Well, we'll have to see. Maybe it will. Okay, so 25. For me, big TP zone on AVAX, massive TP zone. If you are sitting in AVAX now, you are already at a TP zone, 23.7, 23.8, this type of region. You should be tightening up stops, being a little bit more cautious in case this thing falls over. Then, how do you deal with it? Okay, so you've watched with FOMO. Let's say you've missed your position. Let's say you've missed this whole move. Okay, and you dying now for an entry into AVAX or Phantom or one of these tokens.
Hold on. How do we deal with the legs first? This is so much alpha that I got into the show that
like Michael Jackson just beat it.
Attending to the likes.
Guys, the likes bouncer has spoken. I brought in power from 𝗲𝗟𝗒𝗪. I'm delivering. I'm giving you everything you need. I'm giving you degen setups here as well. Hit the like button for the man. Make him happy. Make him happy. Okay, let's go. AVAX, how do we deal with this? Okay, if this thing starts falling over, what do? What you need to do is, okay, number one, you grab your fib to the absolute lows from the dump. Okay, so Friday the 6th, that's a nice little marker on all of these altcoins. You grab your fibs from the low, you take it all the way to the high. Okay, you want to look for levels of confluence. Where are these things going to tie in? Where can I get potential reactions on some of these tokens? So we pull this from the low to the high, and you can see immediately here I've got a 382 fib tied in with a couple of horizontals in this region as well. And then I've got to bang a little bit of confluence here. Look at this. I've got an anchored VWAP pushing into this 22.8 region here for me. So what I'm looking at now, okay, if AVAX starts falling over now and we start looking at something along these lines, I would say your entry zone here, your scalper zone, 22.85. You're looking for action somewhere in that region for AVAX. That will keep it nice and bullish. That's a super bullish fib, the 382. Then option number two, if they give you more weakness and Bitcoin really starts dropping now, sending us to, deeper and darker levels, where's your next reaction zone? Your next reaction zone, 22.36. Okay, that's your next one. And then the big dog for me. And if this one doesn't hold, we're going back to hell, I'm afraid. And we're going to be morbid again. We're going to be talking on Wednesday and Thursday and saying, the dump's not over. New tile saying bottom's not in. We're going to be sending us all back to hell again. So best these levels hold here for us on AVAX and all of these other tokens. So what I'm looking at, 22.85 reaction zone, 22.36 reaction zone, 21.93 reaction zone. Okay, these are all your types of zones here where you can get the bounce, and that often is one of these is typically the bottom of the move if it's going to remain bullish. So you're going to have some kind of trend forming over here, and you're going to see this type of game all the way down until one of these things kicks off for you, and then they start sending this thing up. Now, we've seen this time and time again. And Phantom is another classic example of something that's just pushed up. It's pulled back onto a 618, and now it is sending again. So typical little setup here. So AVAX, watching those areas here. And I see this thing's kicking nicely. And what I want to do is I just want to look where my 236 fib is, because that's also a super bullish fib. It's the most bullish fib you can get. So, and it's also the most bearish fib you can get. So what you can do is you can pull out your 236, and let's see what that is reacting on at the moment. Look at that. Bang. Okay, nice little region there for us as well. Not the most reliable level, but you can use it, okay, as a guide, 23.4. Okay, you can see we're reacting off this now at the moment, but what I prefer, 22.8, and these levels slightly lower down. And for me, that is tying in with BTC on some of these areas. Look at that little pop there, Raymond. Look at that. Bang.
Are we in the short zone? Are we in the short zone?
Bro, I believe we might have to short this thing. Hold on. No, this candle's got to get taken out here. 57,200 now becomes the target here for us. So we've got a 618, okay? I mean, we've got a 786 here. Let's just take a look here. 786, okay? But we don't have anything in the way. Look at this. It's pretty clean all the way up here. Okay, so if we're going to short this thing, if we're looking for a reaction here, that is interesting there. So 56,900, 56,800. Okay, watch those candles, bro. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we get something here, a little double top situation. Maybe we send this thing down. Okay, Ray, keep me posted, please. That'll be nice. Okay, possible short incoming here for us, guys. Let's stay focused. Okay, let's go. So AVAX we covered. You got your levels on AVAX. Look out, okay? Big Bitcoin rejection starts that little cascade to the downside. I see Cunning George says, now we got some action. Okay, okay, Rune, how's this thing? So I gave you guys this level, 3.3. Hopefully some of you guys took it. And a very simple game plan on a lot of these tokens. When you're getting a massive dump, okay, you don't need rocket science to figure out where these things are going to bounce. You literally need a horizontal level and you need a nice high time frame fib pool. And that's all I've done on tons of these altcoins. You've seen it now on AVAX, Phantom, all of these things. And Rune was just another beautiful prime example here. Look at this thing. It dropped to the dollar on this 3.3 on the 618 fib, and then a rocket-sized move here on Rune. So if you are trading Rune, you are now in your danger zone. Okay, this is an area you need to exercise caution. You can see why this was massive support for nearly 3 weeks. Okay, during August for Rune. So now you're pushing into a possible rejection zone. Watch out here, a little push into that 50-day MA, and then a rejection in that area. So just be careful now. You're pushing in 3.8 to 3.9. This is a danger zone. This is where the bears are looking for shorts now. You can see we've had a massive move here on Rune from the lows. Okay, we're 15% up. If you're in a Rune position, take some profits, tighten up your stops, do something, bank something, because we might get a situation here where this thing starts turning over. And then we're going to cater for you guys here if this thing does. And let's just, well, we're going to replot this now. So this is Rune on the 15 minutes. What you do when this thing keeps pumping, you start dragging your fibs higher until this thing reverses. So we don't know where it's going to reverse yet. We got to let it play out a little bit. You can see earlier we had a reversal, so we had a guide. Right now we don't. Okay, when this thing reverses, you're going to stop moving your fibs and you're going to start dragging up your little boxes. Okay, you want to see where's your horizontal tying in, where are you getting levels, where's your confluence, where this thing can bounce on some kind of pullback and those types of things. So watching closely now as we start tracking higher. Very simple game plan here for Rune. You want to start watching 3.6 for now. You can see we've got horizontals in play. Okay, let this thing do its thing. Okay, let it do its thing. You're going to have to start pulling fibs, but we're looking for something potentially along these lines. Onka says the 255 MA is working good. Guys, bang out moving averages that work for you. Back test them. If they do, use them. Okay, just don't overcomplicate it. Don't have like 10 MAs on your screen. You're going to go crazy. You can see what I use. 200-day MA, 100-day MA, 50-day MA. I've got an anchored VWAP. I use horizontals. I use fibs. Those types of things. We keep it relatively simple here so you don't get too confused. So right now, Rune, you have to let this thing reverse. Once it starts reversing, you're going to find your zones where you can get your bullish bounces. For me right now, 3.6, that's your potential entry zone on any pullbacks. And then watch out. If we do push higher, you can see we've got a big resistance area, rejection zone here as well. Look at that. Big area. So just like we've seen on that higher time frame chart that I showed you, the 50-day MA is a danger zone. Okay, that is a big area for us. Let's use MDX Algo here. I want to see if we've got some order blocks. And yeah, you can see we've got this red band that you see higher up here. That's a order block there for us. Also in our way at the 3.9 region. So you're going to watch out that area there for a rejection on Rune. So look out. You can see now, bigger picture, rejection zone, exercise caution here. and just play it safe. Let's look for bullish pullbacks rather than FOMO into green candles. And you can see we don't have much in the line of, super bullish looking pivots. They're quite broad at the moment. And this weekly, it's not the tightest pivot we've ever seen. Okay. But we do have the weekly pivot lows, 3.6. So that adds to our confluence of support. So we got an anchored VWAP, we got the horizontal, we got the weekly pivot lows, and we've got a trend there. So that tells us 3.6 is a nice safe zone or safe zone number 1 if you are looking for potential rune entries over there. Okay, so that is covered. That's great. Now, before we bring Power back on, because he's got some more juice for you guys on Easy Algo, I want to take you through this Vista situation. Okay, Ray, have you heard of this Vista, bro?
Slightly. Fill me in, sir.
Pump.fun ETH. Okay, it's like desperado attempt to save ETH, basically. That's how I'm seeing. Okay, look how desperado.
Bottom, and we're gonna start the bull.
Do you remember Windows 95? Okay, do you remember Windows Vista?
Yes. Okay.
Now you're in for a treat. Okay, now you're in for a treat. Okay. So here's this guy, Joshy, talking about Vista ecosystem. So guys, you can see this has been all over Twitter. People are talking about it. There's obviously some vibe going on here with this thing. Okay, but he's giving you an explanation. Meme generator, DEX, revenue, auto buy. Okay, team aren't making any noise. They're just shipping. Okay, that's apparently good. ETH whales are already in. That's apparently good. Community strong ASF. I believe that means that's good as well. Deck's got to be the most unique. Yeah, it's fucking disgusting, this thing. I'm going to show you now. It's definitely unique. And held throughout the bearish saga. Okay, market cap 22 million. I don't know. Are memes on ETH cool? I don't know, guys. I'm going to give you this information. You decide for yourself. I own things like Hemil, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, PP, what's it, Donald Trump and you, tons of those ETH memes. I've got them. Okay, will they ever revive themselves? I don't know. But here's the interface for this thing. Okay, so there's a lot still coming. It's basically, it feels like Windows 95. Or whatever's going on here. And you can do all these types of things. There's loans, okay, that are coming. There's futures coming soon, lending coming soon. It's obviously all happening here. And you can do swaps on this thing. So you connect your wallet and you can do your regular token swaps and you can buy all these things. Okay, so it's pump.fun for ETH. Make your own tokens, the whole story. Okay, and this reminds me of my youth. Okay, this is literally reminds me of doing school projects on Encarta 95 or whatever the hell that stuff was. Remember that we had to do
go short.
Right. I'm going to give you the chart. Okay, this thing is offensive. But what's also offensive is this. Tell me if you can hear this. They've put songs on. Okay, let's see if you can hear these songs, bro. Let me just turn mine off. Can you hear the sound? Let me just make sure I can put the sound on here. No, it's there. Okay, let me know if you can hear this. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Can you hear this?
Can you make it higher? I can hear it, but can you make it higher?
It seems to be coming out of my neck.
The clip is back. Can you feel the vibe from the window pass back to life?
This has got to be the biggest.
What is going on, bro? Let me know the short entry, please. Thank you.
No, bro, I can't actually deal with it. They're literally trying to save me. Okay, so okay, so there you go, guys. You've got the full spin on Vista. It's pump.fun for ETH. Is it cool? Fuck, I don't know. Vitalik's got a girlfriend now. Oaks do whatever they want. Yeah, we're gonna see if we can get this short here, guys. Okay, well, let me finish this thing. 57,255. Okay, that is what we're watching. 57,255. We're going to watch that for now. Okay, let's finish this Vista. Okay, this is Vista on the 1 hour. Okay, you can see there's hype. There's people talking about it on Twitter. They're obviously trying to generate some kind of narrative around this thing to get everyone excited about it. And we'll have to see how it plays out. Look, if they do get stuck into this thing, no doubt it's a 20 million market cap. If it gets enough traction, this thing's going to move. The ETH price should maybe start churning a little bit higher as well on the back of that. If you are looking for a Vista entry, okay, I've broken this down in the simplest form possible for you. Okay, if you want to buy this thing, high risk play, you buy it on weakness 22. Okay, zone number 1, 22. Zone number 2, 20. Okay, look at these areas and then the absolute lows. Okay, this is the dump lows here, 6th and 7th of September. Those are the lows at 18.75. Okay, so there's your Vista. good luck. Okay, maybe we will get someone to make some tokens on this thing, and we'll see how it plays out. But 20 million market cap, guys, anything can happen. Okay, this thing could go 5x, who knows, 10x, who knows if retail gets stuck into that. So, maybe it's something you want to have in your spot portfolio, nothing serious. I bought a small bag of this thing. Let's see. Okay, let's see what happens later on. Okay, we know Sun Pump did well, Pump.Fund did well. ADA Pump, I don't think it did anything. Some of the others, I don't think they were great either. But that is that. Okay, let's talk 𝗬𝗎, and then we're getting Power back on for a little quick one on a couple of other tokens. So 𝗬𝗎 was also one of your requests, and Render was one of your requests, token requests on the chat. Remember, guys, just leave the tokens you want in the chats for me. Ray looks at them, he tells me the next day, and then I bang them out for you. Okay, so Render and 𝗬𝗎 are here for you guys that you were looking for. And just a reminder on 𝗬𝗎. So this thing's been pumping, it's been leading the charge on a lot of tokens. They're saying it's the new soul and all this story, but crypto, it's the same shit. The guys just coordinate, they pump this thing, everyone talks about it, it goes up, exit liquidity, then they send it down. You know the story by now. And Crypto Condom says agent funds may be buying 𝗬𝗎, but if they are, they're doing it at a 60% discount so they can turn around and make retail their exit liquidity. There you are, over there. Okay, so if you've been watching 𝗬𝗎 climbing the ladder, doing its thing, I did chart this one yesterday for you guys, and we did look at it. Here's the flag. You can see what's going on here. We're in a tight little channel. Okay, so for me, 𝗬𝗎, if it is going to run some more, you've still got your big support, 0.83. Watching that one closely, that is huge support, and I have broken this down for you last night. Okay, let me know. Did anyone get this entry? Here it is. Look at this. It's just happened here. It's dropped into the entry that I gave you guys yesterday on my show. Dropped into our 382. This was our first hot zone for us. So hopefully some of you guys were paying attention last night when I gave you these areas here. And 0.89. This is our first reaction zone. This is your first support zone that you can work with. So ideally, what you want to see, some kind of consolidation here in the zone, leading into that trend, and then a nice little push. So good start here for 𝗬𝗎. Let's see if this thing drifts back a little bit lower. You can start building on any weakness into these types of areas here. 0.89, watch that level, look for some consolidation there, look for structure, then ultimately you're looking for that trend break. So you're going to get something playing out like that, hopefully, if it plays out. And remember, you've got this big trend support here for you as well. So 0.89, this is your first line of defense now for 𝗬𝗎. Let's see how that plays out. And then bigger time frame, you can see this whole region here for us. Okay, on the 12-hour, that whole area is a juicy zone for us. Okay, if we do get a little bit more weakness there. So that 8343 on the 12-hour, the degens, here's your degen level. Okay, you've got it. And you can see it in front of you. Look at that little reaction already over there. Okay, let's talk Render with Power here. Talk to me. How's Render looking?
Render's looking interesting. Remember we were talking when we started the program about that super narrow monthly? It is just knocking on the door right now. It's been following that trend line. We had a super narrow pivot on the daily. I just threw it on my 1 hour here back on Saturday, and it just seems to be a continuation of that. It's just been climbing the stairs, tapping that trend line, and right now it's gassing up, just getting past the R1 on the daily. And if we can break this it's a single line monthly pivot. You can't get any more narrow than that. You think I just painted it there, right?
We can get off that once, right?
Right, so, correct. Back here once, and we just tapping into it now for the second time. So we get through.
If we blow that, we're cooking, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and it's a psychological level too. So you got it's literally at $5. It's $49.99, and so psychological level, fib level, pivot level, it's all there. Get above it, and people are going to start getting interested again and play along. Should we not do that? Should BTC shit the bed, and we come back in? Well, then you could be looking back into yesterday's pivot around 4.7.
Okay, so look, I like the idea of Render. During that dump, it was pretty well behaved. It's been consolidating for a while. It's a nice AI narrative. We're sitting low. The market's bearish, and it's kind of just floating around doing its thing. So Render was one of the trades that I jumped into, and I was quite happy to see it ripping off that weekly pivot. I just want to bring my chart up. So we were looking at this on a live Sniper Club session last night. We were looking at a couple of tokens, okay? Render was one of the big ones we were watching. We were hunting for these tight pivots. And what we picked up was render. Just breaking into this tight little weekly. So that definitely got our attention there. And now you can see we've got this little trend in play. Okay, so this thing is squeezing higher, and exactly what Power is telling you guys, this is a super tight monthly pivot. Now, I would expect some kind of explosive move here. If we get a nice hard push through this monthly pivot, I think the market wakes up everywhere. Okay, so it's not going to be just render. I think, if we get a hard push here, the market's going to fly. Okay, these altcoins are going to rip. And render is on my radar. Okay, I'm sitting in a render position. You can see what we're using here. This the weekly pivot lows. Okay, that's your support, 4.8 weekly pivot lows. You can see the monthly pivot in front of you, 4.99. Where am I a little bit cautious? Okay, look for a rejection at your anchored VWAP. Look for that retest, 5. And then I think this thing absolutely sends. Okay, that's my bull view on render. So look for a little pop now. Look for that rejection 5.1 type level. The retest on this monthly is your long entry. Okay, so if you don't have an entry currently, or if you're in one currently, your support is the weekly pivot in yellow at 4.8. You can use that. If you don't have one, this is your trade. Okay, you want to let this thing pop the monthly pivot. Then you want to make sure it comes back and retests this thing for you. So you might need a little bit of patience here if you want to just wait this one out a little bit, but you want to see a pop here, little rejection, then you can get your buyers in on that pullback. You want to buy the retest, okay? Because sometimes these things come back all the way and they don't necessarily hold. Okay, so if you buy it when it's popped out all the way and then it comes back and doesn't hold that monthly, then you're underwater. Then you're under pressure. So typically, you can buy a little bit on the break, but when it comes back for the retest, that's where you lock in your next buy, and that lowers your stop risk. That lowers your risk of the position. So looking out for that.
Speaking our language, that's one of the main lessons. If you're coming through the pivot or you're coming through a point of resistance, always wait for your retest. If you're coming down towards it and you see strength, get in on the bounce. It's just standard things we teach. I don't know if
are important. Okay.
Confluence of compression, by the way, on render. If the daily and the weekly were identical and the same, so you had double it. Literally, the price just went above the weekly, and it was also the daily pivot. So when it bounced into that, you had that extra. Again, going back to that, we need a little more gas to get through the monthly. Having both of those pivots on the same spot is beautiful.
Yeah, look, I'm getting excited. Okay, I want this thing to break. I'm sitting in a render position here on WeX. You can see it's finally starting to do something here. When we pop that monthly, okay, so I'm using that weekly as support. When we pop that monthly, we're gonna add a bit of sauce to this thing. We're gonna start sending this thing properly and see what we can get out of this. We'll see how big we can go on this render play. Okay, that's a nice banger. And then there was one more. What did we talk about? Ondo.
You want to take a look at Ondo, yeah. Is it Ondo?
Ondo. Give me Ondo.
Ondo. Super narrow weekly. Super narrow weekly, just breaking above daily R2. So the move was this morning on Ondo for today. You're going to want to wait till tomorrow if you're going to try to re-enter. Probably get a retest around. Ideally continues on 0.61. But the move was this morning. The weekly and the daily pivot, same, much like render. They were both in the same exact position with a super tight. So if you were following, if you're in the sniper club and you caught the weekly pivot list, if you were at the party with us, you would have been able to catch that this morning at the market open and let her go. Asian market open.
There's a little secret that you guys can do, and we did it last night. So the weekly pivots come out when I'm sleeping. Okay, so I actually always miss them. I miss all the fun. But what you can do on Easy Algo, late on a Sunday, if you're in like a European time zone and things like that, late on a Sunday, you can actually project the next weekly pivot. So you know that you are pretty close to the next pivot getting open. So last night on our live Sniper Club session, we started projecting the next week's pivot, which was only about 3-4 hours away from when we were doing it.
On a weekly, you're good. Yeah.
And that's what triggered render, Ondo, Dupe, Ponky we jumped into, a couple of others. So yeah, little secret, little trick that you guys can do. If you want some easy algo, guys, there's a link in the show description for you. There's a webinar, but we're going to call it something else. You've got to call it something more exciting.
I'm going with workshop. We're going to workshop.
Okay,
Yeah.
7 days free. You're going to expose to easy algo trading and their style. Okay, it's slightly different to mine. Okay, so if you're used to my stuff, be prepared to see something different. Okay, take a look at that stuff, and you can see how I use easy algo for confluence for me. If it's breaking a trend and I can see these things, I'm happy. You know, that it fulfills its role for me. But there's a whole world there for easy algo. So if you guys are interested, go check it out. Grab that link in the description.
Yeah, join us.
Thanks for hanging.
You know, again, we're just trying. It's basically with this one, we're going to show you all of the new developments we've had over the last couple months. Give you this full 7-day experience to come out and enjoy the full week. You know, the weekly pivot party starts it off for you, and then you know you get the live trainings. You get to hang out with even Ray's in there most days, and then you know we get a community day, live trading sessions, and the Friday just to chill, chart, and chat. Shoot the shit about what you guys learned over the week. Have a couple beers in the afternoon on a Friday, and ideally we made more than enough money to be able to cover your next monthly subscription in that first 7 days.
Okay, thanks for hanging, guys. You can catch him there. Let's do a quick little update on BTC because the market's ripping. Okay, always a nice sign. And you know, so let's see. Okay, so Phantom, this thing is cooking. I'm going to now move my stop. So anyone who took Phantom, or if you jumped in, any degens out there who traded these 5-minute candles, I'm putting my stop under that retest. Okay, so you can see I'm just highlighting it there. Bang. Okay, so my stop now is 4470. Okay, and they can send us to Valhalla. Let's see, where are they rejecting it right now? Let's compare our charts. Okay, just under this 618. So a little bit of juice left here in Phantom. Let's see how we go there. So Phantom, that is sorted. Ton, we're going to leave that one ripping. Let's see how that is going to go. So that plan is in play. Okay, so Ton, we can also just raise our stops to a level of safety there for us. Then let's go BTC. Okay, that is what we're looking for. So now you guys are, obviously, we're not going to be able to do this one live. Okay, but I suspect there is going to be an opportunity coming, 56,800, that type of region. Let's check these liquidations. Look at this. Okay, liquidations above the zone 56. Actually, let's highlight this. Hold on. Let's refresh. Okay, look at that. There we go. 56,500. We got a little yellow band up there, 56,500. That could potentially lead you into this reaction zone that we're looking at here. Okay, this is a short-term rejection area here. So watch that one. And I see Michelle says tons going on in Sniper Club. Yes, correct. Okay, so potential short opportunity, BTC, 56,800, that type of region. I would watch that. Try not to FOMO into any green candles you're seeing now. Naturally, it can get super dangerous, but I'm loving that things are turning a little bit bullish here. Okay, so we'll keep that tile up that says bottoms in. We'll keep that one up for a while, and let's see how we go, guys. It's got to, at some point, this market's got to bounce. They've just killed us for months. And I think it's time, even a short-term bounce, couple of days would be lovely, leading into rates. Then they come and end us again. That's fine. But they're not going to end us without us having fun first. Okay, so see you guys tomorrow. If you want more daily action, Sniper Club, that's where it's at. Catch you guys later. Jeez, Ray, what a banger.